Alright, quick tour through numbers 1 to 10. The census and camp organization. Why it matters and what I'm taking away. Timeline. First, the census. God tells Moses to count every fighting age man, tribe by tribe. It's not just math, it's mission readiness. They're building a people who can move with purpose. Then, the camp layout. Picture the tabernacle in the center like a heartbeat, east, southwest, north. Order replaces chaos. Everyone knows where they stand. The Levites, they don't join the army headcount. They're set apart for worship, guarding and carrying the sacred pieces of the tabernacle. Gershon, Kohath, Merari. It's logistics meets holiness. Purity laws roll in. Sickness, restitution, bitter water test. Because community trust matters. Then the Nazirite vow. Men or women can temporarily set themselves apart. No wine, no haircuts, no contact with death, choosing focused devotion. Right after we get one of the Bible's most famous blessings. The Lord bless you and keep you. Spoken over the people before they move. Leaders bring offerings to dedicate the altar. Lamps are lit. Trumpets are forged to signal the camp. Finally, cloud lifts from Sinai. Time to move. Judah leads. The ark goes ahead to scout rest. Israel leaves the mountain with structure, purpose, and a plan. Key takeaways. Mission needs measurement. Counting clarifies calling. God at the center orders everything else. Worship is work, and work can be worship. Roles matter. Holiness isn't abstract, it shapes daily choices. Vows and blessings recalibrate the soul for the journey. When the cloud moves, it's go time. Obedience beats comfort. If you felt stuck in chaos, start with center, then assignment, then movement. Numbers isn't just old records, it's a roadmap for purpose.
Walking you through Numbers, chapters 11 through 21, where the road trip from Egypt turns messy. It starts with complaints. The camp grumbles about hardships. Fire flashes at the edges. Then cravings hit. Meat, not manna. God sends quail, oceans of it. But the feast ends with a plague. Moses feels crushed under the weight of leading millions, so 70 elders share the spirit and the burden. Next, family drama. Miriam and Aaron challenge Moses. God defends him. Miriam is struck with leprosy, then healed after 7 days outside the camp. 12 spies scout the promised land. Joshua and Caleb see promise. 10 see giants. Fear wins the vote. The people cry to go back to Egypt. The verdict? 40 years of wandering. 1 year for each day the land was scouted. The generation that rebelled won't enter, except Joshua and Caleb. A rushed, faithless attack follows. And it fails. Then comes Korah's rebellion. He and others challenge Moses and Aaron. The ground opens. Fire consumes the 250 with censers. A plague sweeps the camp until Aaron runs with incense and stands between the living and the dead. To settle the question of leadership, staffs are placed before God. Aaron's staff buds, blossoms, and it bears almonds overnight. Thirst hits at Meribah. God tells Moses to speak to the rock. Moses strikes it. Water flows. But the consequence is heavy. Moses and Aaron won't enter the land. Edom refuses passage. Aaron dies on Mount Hor. Fiery serpents bite the people after another round of complaints. God instructs a bronze serpent on a pole. If they look, they live. Finally, momentum. Israel defeats Arad. Israel defeats Sihon. Israel defeats Og. Kings who block the way. Rebellion had consequences. Wandering had lessons. Judgment steered a stubborn people toward promise, through discipline, mercy, and hope that survived the desert. Quick timeline recap of Numbers chapters 22 to 25, the Balaam saga. Setup: Israel is camped on Moab's borders after a string of wins. King Balak freaks out. He hires Balaam, a famous seer, to come curse Israel. Big payday, big pressure. The road trip: God tells Balaam don't go, then allows him to go, but only to speak what God says. On the road, Balaam's donkey sees the angel of the Lord blocking the way. Balaam doesn't. He beats the donkey. 1, 2, 3. And then the donkey talks back. Donkey says, "Why are you hitting me?" God opens Balaam's eyes. He sees the angel, realizes he's in the wrong, and agrees to only say what God gives him. The showdown. Balak drags Balaam to high places overlooking Israel. They set up altars. Balak expects curses. Oracle 1, Instead of cursing, Balaam blesses. Israel is set apart and can't be hexed. Balak is mad, moves him to another vantage point. Oracle 2, again, blessing. God is not a man to lie. What he blesses, stands. New spot, try again. Oracle 3, Balaam sees Israel's camps like gardens by rivers. It's all flourishing and favor. Kings will rise, enemies fall. Balak is done. But Balaam adds a final word. Oracle 4, future vision. A star will come out of Jacob, a scepter out of Israel. It's a long-view promise of a ruler who crushes hostile nations. The fallout, Balaam can't curse. Israel's blessed. But in chapter 25, Israel trips itself up. Enticed into Moabite worship and immorality at Peor, a plague hits. Phinehas steps in zealously, the plague stops, and covenant faithfulness is upheld. Big takeaway, no spell can undo what God blesses, but blessings don't excuse compromise. Faithfulness matters in the camp as much as favor on the hills. That's Numbers 22-25. Balaam's words, Israel's test, and a promise pointing through Numbers 26-36, the reset before Israel enters the land. Chapter 26, a new census. The first generation that left Egypt is gone. A new generation stands ready. Names change, numbers shift. The promise remains. Chapter 27, Zelophehad's daughters step forward. Their father died without sons. They ask for an inheritance. God affirms their claim. Inheritance can pass through daughters. Justice in the law. Then the turn. God tells Moses he won't enter the land. Moses doesn't argue. He asks for a shepherd for the people. Joshua is chosen. Moses lays hands on him. Authority passed, mission unchanged. Chapters 28-29. The calendar of offerings. Daily sacrifices. Weekly sacrifices. Monthly sacrifices. Festival sacrifices. Not filler, formation. Rhythm shapes identity. Chapter 30. Vows. Words matter. Commitments tied to covenant responsibility. Chapter 31. The war against Midian. Judgment. Holiness has costs. Compromises ripple. Chapter 32. Reuben, Gad. Half of Manasseh want land east of the Jordan. Moses pushes back. No retreat at the border. They pledge to fight first, settle later. Unity before comfort. Chapter 33. A travelogue of places wandered. A map of mercy, mile by mile. Chapter 34. Boundaries drawn. Inheritance needs borders. Vision gets practical. Chapter 35. 48 Levitical cities. 6 cities of refuge. Justice and mercy meet. Due process. Protection for the unintended killer. Consequences for the murderer. Chapter 36. Zelophehad's daughters marry within their tribe so inheritance stays rooted. From census to calling. God readies a people and passes the baton. Moses leads them to the edge. Joshua will lead them in.